What was the scariest moment you ever had watching a movie? Let me know in the comments below. The reason I'm asking that, it's late at night, but this was on my mind. I was sitting here watching a horror movie, and I'm like, you know what? I don't think there's ever been a horror movie that stuck out to me to where it haunts me to this day. Yes, there's been crazy moments I've had seeing scary movies, but none that stuck to me to where I was like, even as a kid, as an adult now, it still haunts me from when I was little, or something I seen recently that was like, oh man, bro. And maybe it's because I know for the most part for these horror movies, when you see Freddy Krueger or Art the Clown or stuff like that, you know it's not real. So, and that's just me. So maybe that's why it's never really bothered me. There was one movie that stuck to me a little bit, but nothing to where, like they say, it terrorized me for years. And it was Insidious. I'll explain that in another video why. But, you know, nothing to where, like, I've heard a lot of people say, man, I cannot watch this certain thing because as a kid, this, and that. I've never had a moment like that. I was sitting there thinking about it as I was watching a horror movie. I'm like, have I ever been terrified in that sense? And I've said this before, it's hard to scare me as it is when it comes to scary movies. There's a few that I was like, now, let me not confuse jump scares with being terrified. Jump scares, I've been jump scared before multiple times, but it's just because I didn't expect it. You know, where you like, but nothing to where I'm sitting there scared out of my mind. You know, there's a scene and you look in the corner, you like, and you see like, oh my goodness, in your heart, you know, you start getting scared yourself as if you're in the movie. It's hard for me to get in that situation. It's happened, but nothing like a lot of other people they say is I'm so terrified. Can't say I related to a lot of people with that, but it doesn't mean I've never had a moment where I was terrified. It just wasn't in horror movies. I was terrified in this one movie that had nothing to do with horror, but it was so real, it scared the mess out of me for the longest time. Have y'all ever seen Training Day? I mean, the movie's been out for a while. I'm pretty sure a lot of us who are adults now. If you're a kid, probably not, and you shouldn't. You should wait till you're older. But for the adults, have y'all ever seen Training Day? Yes or no? Let me know in the comments. But first off, that movie is insane, and the fact that that movie was all in one day is even more, I guess, insane, out of this world, whatever you want to call it. But there was this one scene that stuck to me. And to this day, I ain't terrified, but it always sticks to my mind as one of the most craziest, terrifying moments I've ever had in movie history. And by the way, Ethan Hawke, I know Denzel won an Academy Award for Training Day. Ethan Hawke should have won with him. Ethan Hawke was you, the viewer. The emotions he had in this whole movie, not just this scene I'm going to talk about, but in this whole movie was literally me. I think that he was more tougher than me, but the fear in his eyes, the what is going on was us, the viewers. Like he embodied how we was feeling watching. Should I tell you I don't want to say the whole movie, but long story short, for those who don't know the plot, I mean, the movie's been out for a while, but Ethan Hawke's character, this was his first day working on the job with Denzel, and Denzel was taking him through a whole wild goose chase that Ethan Hawke did not expect. That's the fastest plot I would give you. There's more to the movie, but I'm not trying to get through that whole thing. I just want to get to this certain scene. During this part of the movie, Ethan Hawke realized that Denzel is a dirty cop. He realized that, and he realizes he can't trust him. He can't trust him, but I'm going to roll with him. In this movie, if you haven't noticed from what I'm saying, Denzel is a bad guy. But with Denzel catching on that he can't trust Ethan Hawke, and that his usefulness to Denzel's master plan is to an end, Denzel takes Ethan Hawke without Ethan Hawke even knowing, takes him to this house, this certain house where these gangsters live in, just to deliver something. Now, Ethan Hawke has no idea these are crazy gangsters. He's just following orders, doing what Denzel said. He said, Denzel's like, it'll take a minute. Let me just deliver this. And by the way, Denzel's trying to warm up to Ethan Hawke so Ethan Hawke can trust him again. And he's following him. He's like, okay, you know what? Let me just finish this job. The job's almost over. It was nighttime. I'm about to go get off and go back home. So he said, let me just go with Denzel to this house. Worst decision he ever made. He went to the house just to deliver some to this guy. Ethan Hawke's already realizing that in this house, something's not sitting right. And Denzel tells Ethan Hawke, they're in the kitchen, there's a scene in the kitchen where Ethan Hawke's with the gangsters and Denzel. Denzel's like, wait here, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go deliver this thing in this room, whatever, I'll be right back. So as Ethan Hawke's waiting there, these gangsters who are sitting at the table playing cards, they're like, yo man, come play with us. Just come, pull up a chair. So Ethan Hawke's trying to play it cool, but you can feel the nervousness in him. And I ain't gonna front, you feel it a little bit. You like, okay, something's not adding up here. These guys are being nice to him, but at the same time, the atmosphere did not, it didn't feel right. But you don't think anything about it. So Ethan Hawke's playing it cool. He's like, all right, let's play some cards. They playing cards and whatnot. And the guys start just having regular conversation. And the main, I guess you call it boss of the house, he got what he needed from Denzel and, sat with them and they was playing cards or whatnot. And these guys start asking interesting questions where one of them was like, hey, can I see your gun? I like that gun. I got this gun here, is this, and that. And Ethan Hawke's like, nah, nah, I don't really. But then they started to keep pressuring him, but like in a chill way, I guess you want to call it. Not where they're threatening, but they're like, yo, bro, chum chill, this and that. Ethan Hawke's trying to play it cool. So he's like, all right, fine, you can see my gun and all this other stuff. And he gives it to him. So then one of the gangsters asked Ethan Hawke a very interesting question, and it got Ethan Hawke a little nervous. And he's like, all right, so and by the way, you can feel the thickness in the room because all three of these gangsters are just looking at the cop, Ethan Hawke. And you can tell Ethan Hawke's like, okay, Denzel, you ready to go? You can feel it. He didn't, without him saying it, he didn't call him out, but he's like, I think it's time for me to go. He stands up and he takes his gun back. They give him his gun and he looks outside and he realizes that Denzel's car is gone. And one of the gangsters like, it seemed like, I keep saying Denzel because some of y'all might not have seen the movie, so y'all don't know who Denzel's character's name is. But he's like, one of the gangsters like, it seems like you was played for a fool, dude. Sit down. And again, they're still smiling at him like, sit down. And by the way, when you have to see the rest of the movie, like before this scene, to be even more terrified because this man has been through hell as it is. And he was already at the stage of like, okay, it's about to be over. I'm about to go home. Imagine being exhausted. And then now you are stuck in this room with these three gangsters looking at you. There's no way out because even if you somehow get out of this room with these three, outside of the house, there's these other guys just standing around, like 20 of them. So there's literally no way of getting out. And these guys are talking to you like they're your friend, but they're not. They're just trying to make you uneasy and let you know without making it black and white that you're not leaving this house. And it was when he looked outside and noticed that Denzel left him to die, he was like, and so the main guy's like, sit down. So now the whole attitude Ethan Hawke had of playing cards and trying to be cool left. He went, and my heart was racing, bro. The reason that's scary because it's like, that's some real life stuff there. And every time you're thinking about it, you're like, there's no way he's getting out of this house. And they're talking to him. And so he sits down and you can see the nervousness, the way he's looking, he's plotting. And by the way, while he's looking nervous at all the tests, the other guys are like, yeah, so when he's looking at one of the other guys, gangsters, when he was in prison, didn't you have can't say it for YouTube, but if I say prison, gangsters, and some of the rough things that happen in prison, that's what they was asking. Did that ever happen to you? He's like, oh yeah, I love that though. That was some good stuff. Hey cop, does that ever happen to you? They asking stuff like the weirdest questions to the cop as they're asking each other. And you can basically see that, they have some plans for him. And the whole time, Ethan Hawke gave the best performance. The way he was just sitting there and scared, but also like, I gotta get out, it was the most intense. The scene was only 5 to 7 minutes. And I will say this. I'm explaining you the plot. It doesn't even do enough justice until you watch it for yourself. Do not go in there. Don't go on YouTube and click that scene. Watch the movie from before. If you haven't seen the movie I'm talking about, watch it from before leading up to it. Because then you'll feel exhausted before you even get to this scene. And then knowing that this movie is not over yet. He has to sit here and figure out how to get out of this situation. He might not even get out of. So back to the story, the gangsters are like, yeah, this and happened in prison. Did you like it? He asked the main boss. The boss looked at his man, then looked at the cop. Oh yeah, I love getting love from the homies. As he's looking at him, and Ethan Hawke flips the table, hits one of the gangsters, and tries to run out. And one of the gangsters grab him and slap him with a glass bottle, and not knock him out, but hit him to the floor. And the main boss is mad because the one guy that got punched was him. So he's looking at his family. By the way, his family's in the house. He got his wife and mother in the house. They don't care. You can tell they're just used to this gangster life. And then he's telling them to go somewhere else, go somewhere. And he's mad because he just got punched in the mouth. He didn't see that coming. So he sits up there, takes the cop's handcuffs the cop, and tells his men, drag him into the bathroom. And the way, who was the director? Antoine Fuqua? Something like that. The way he did the camera work, it's literally for 5 to 10 seconds. You see this hallway to where the gangsters are dragging him, and it would look so narrow and hopeless. And hopeless because it's a little hallway leading to a room that now he's not getting out of. In this moment, Ethan Hawke is done. It's over. Your heart is racing as it is because you're like, Ethan Hawke went through enough. You feel bad for this cop because literally Ethan Hawke was a good dude in this movie. A good dude dealt with a bad hand. And for him to get dragged in this hallway, you're like, bro, oh, come on. They put him in this bathroom. A shotgun is literally hanging on the wall in this bathroom. And so they put him in the tub. You can put 2 and 2 together what they're about to do. And the other guy had a shotgun. He's like, close the door. It's going to get kind of loud. Close the curtains and stuff. Now, right then and there, when you first see the movie, I thought it was over. I was like, what? All this and he's about to die? And my heart is racing. I'm like, there's no way. But at the same, I'm literally telling y'all, there was nothing I could figure out to see how is he getting out of the situation. Maybe the cops show up out of nowhere, but in the movie, it makes no sense why the cops will show up out of nowhere. It literally felt like Denzel won in what he was trying to do. Something of a miracle happened in this certain moment, right when, by the way, they have him in the tub. The dude has the shotgun right there in his face. And one of the villains, and this is, I always say, if Ethan Hawke's character, whatever his character's name was, did not believe in God, that moment there he should. Because one of the guys was like, wait, he told the boss, let me get his wallet. Like, the regular thing that criminals usually do, before I kill you, let me get the wallet and see if we can get some money out. So the bad guy's like, all right, hurry up, get the wallet out. So I'm going to tell y'all this. Let me rewind. There's a scene in the beginning of the movie where Ethan Hawke saved this young girl. And Denzel was pushed it to the side. Denzel didn't want to save this girl. This young girl was getting attacked by these 2 druggies in the alley. And Ethan Hawke told Denzel to stop the car. They was driving past. He said, stop the car. And he got out the car to save this young girl. Almost died trying to save her. And when he did, he succeeded in saving her, stopped the 2 druggies. Denzel decided to help at the end, basically save the girl. Now, the girl ran off, but when she ran off, she forgot her wallet in the alley. But by the time Ethan Hawke picked it up, she already left. So he put it in his pocket. Now, we're going back to the scene of the tub. When the guy said, let me get his wallet, he reached in, got a wallet. It wasn't his, though. It was that same girl's. Lo and behold, when he opens it up, takes the money out, he realized in this wallet, it was the picture of the girl that, whose wallet it was. The girl was the cousin of the main thug that was in the bathroom. So he's like, yo, boss, you gonna be crazy. You gonna trip. Isn't this your cousin? So he's flipping out. Where did you get this wallet? So he's thinking the cop did something to his cousin. But the cop's like, no, I found it. I was saving this girl and all this other stuff. He's like, he didn't believe him, so he was like about to close the curtain because he's already triggered that you messing with my cousin now. And then the cop, he was yelling. He was like, look, there was these two drug addicts trying to get her and do stuff to her. I saved her and all this other stuff. And, you know, I have a daughter, bro. And I was just saving because I was thinking about my daughter. Like, he was trying to plead his case while the guy's like, you're lying. There's no way you did something to my cousin. This whole moment was happening. He's like, bro. And I will say this. If the thug was so triggered, he gets out of, if he was an out of control gangster, he would have blew the dude off. He would have been blown out with the shotgun. But the gangster was he hesitated. He was like he was believing him that he saved his cousin. At first he wasn't. He was angry because he see this random dude, this cop has my young cousin's wallet. You did something to but he was like, wait a minute. And when he said, I have a little girl, he started to think, and by the way, his other two gangster guys was like, no, take him out. But he stopped. He was like, we're going to get to the bottom of this. And he pulled out his wallet and called his cousin. Then he sits down, puts the shotgun next to his thing. He's like, if you lying, I'm going to blow this off. So, and bro, you talk about your heart racing. My heart rate talking about this right now because I'm picturing the scene. You have to live that scene, especially that first moment. So you're like, please let this work. Because imagine he calls his cousin and she don't pick up. That's it. It's over for him. But she picks up. You're like, every little scene, you're like, thank God. From the moment he saw the wallet. And by the way, the movie did a great job having you forget about this wallet. Because that was in the beginning of the movie. We're near the end of the movie. This wasn't the end, but it was near it. And I'll never forget when that wallet came out. I was like, what? Oh, that's his cousin? Oh, look how good God is. God's about to save him right here. One good act is about to save his life. Maybe. And so the movie did a great job having you forget about this wallet until you start replaying some stuff in the beginning. You're like, oh, this is a way out. So he calls his cousin and she's trying to be nonchalant. She's like, oh, I'm good. You know, and he was like, you went to school? Yeah, I went to school. And I'm like, girl, if you don't stop lying, this dude's life is on the line. You sit up here lying. But the guy, like I said, this gangster was very wise. He didn't just move on rash. He wasn't rash on how he moved. So he asked again, you went to school? Yes. You didn't ditch. You didn't go anywhere else. And she was like, no, why are you asking? Because I heard different. And then she was like, no, I went to school. Right there, he knew she was lying. He was like, don't lie to me. What happened? And then she told the story of that same thing I just told you that happened in the beginning. And he was like, are you all right? She was like, yeah, because this cop saved me. And right there, he looked at the cop because he don't have it on speaker. So it's only him hearing it. He looks right at the cop. And then he's like, this cop, what do he look like? And she gave the description of the cop in the tub. And he's looking. And I'm sitting there like, thank you. Because if she kept lying, and let's say he believed her, imagine. Literally every sentence in this scene, every moment had to work perfectly for this cop to maybe get out. Because even, let's say if he still was like, nah, you punched me, I'm going to take you out. He still could have done it, but this was a better chance. But it had to work perfectly. And by the way, this whole scene I'm talking about is only 15 minutes. This is all happening in 15 minutes. So this is real. This is like, but the setup for it to get it was intense, but it had to work perfectly. So when she gave the description of the cop, he realized, oh, this cop's telling the truth. So then he's like, we're going to talk about this later, right? She's like, okay. Meaning I'm going to figure out who these druggies are. So he hangs the phone up and he just looking at the cop. And so the other guy's like, so what happened? Are we going to take him out or what? So he removes the shotgun, give it back to his guy. And he said something. He was like, he's telling the truth. life is a trip. And it is, because if you think about it, it's crazy how everything comes in full circle. Like they say, it's a small world, bro. Because if Ethan Hunt listened to Denzel to leave that girl alone for getting attacked by those drugs, Ethan Hawke is dead. That one good moment, him being a good Samaritan, him being a cop, which is what a cop should be doing anyway, protect and serve. Denzel being lazy and, but he was a bad guy. But him being a good cop saved his life right there. Imagine. And also the other gangster for asking, hey, can I go in this wallet and get some of that money? Like I said, every moment had to happen the way it did. If that guy did not say, let me get his wallet, Ethan Hunt would have been dead. If he didn't do that, if Ethan Hunt didn't be a good cop. Because in this movie, there's a lot of moments where Ethan Hunt was tested on being a good cop or being Denzel's cop. Two different situations, two different scenarios there. And Ethan Hunt always did the good thing. But he did one bad thing, but it wasn't nothing too serious. But that one good moment saved him right there, where even the gangster was like, life's a trip, bro. This is some crazy stuff right here. That's why I said, if Ethan Hunt did not believe in God, that his character, he should have right then and there, because you can't make that up. You can't, that's not a coincidence. That is, you do the right thing, it comes back to you. And so he picks the guy up, and it's bad. It's something when even it impresses the gangster how it all comes in full circle. He's even like, unbelievable. That's crazy, bro. And so he picks the guy, Ethan Hunt. He's like, and then it's one of the most cold lines ever. After all that, put in this cop who did deserve it through this hell. He was like, so just so you know, this was all business, right? Nothing personal. And Ethan camera goes to Ethan Hunt's face. He's like, in his mind, I know Ethan Hunt wanted to be like, bro, are you kidding me? If I had SWAT, I would arrest your butt right now and put you through the worst jail cell. But like I said, he's alone there. So then the other gangster's like, this is nothing personal, right? This is just business. Ethan Hunt just play. I was like, bro, just say yes. And Ethan Hunt's like, right, it's just business. Bro, that whole scene stuck with me. And like I said, the whole movie's crazy. That scene alone always stuck with me. I said this before and I'll say it again. Real life situations are way more terrifying than Freddy Krueger walking down, terrorizing your dreams, or Jason Voorhees, Halloween and stuff like that. Those real life situations are way worse. And I grew up in neighborhoods where you in the wrong corner, something can happen to you. So I guess it hit me even more, because if you grew up in that kind of life, now, if you grew up in that kind of life and been around some of these people, and it already terrified you enough, when you watch it and you're like, but dang. So this is what it's like when you're trapped. Because I was blessed to never be in a trap situation. I was blessed to have parents to say, go this way. And thank God I was obedient enough to go this way. And I dodged a lot of crazy stuff. But I still was around it. So I guess being born and stuff like that, it hits home a little bit more. But no, I'm like, man, even if I was born in a different kind of life, a more like what they call them, like the safe suburban life, I don't know what they call it. That's still just that moment, bro. Because you're already rooting for Ethan Hunt. It's not even scared for you. You're scared for the character. Because, yeah, so even without being born in that situation, it was still scary, because when you're rooting for a character after spending like 2 hours seeing the hell he went through as it is, and you're like, okay, there has to be an ending to this, but the worst is over. Then that scene happens. You're already exhausted, because this movie was exhausting. Not in a bad way, because they did a good job. And you have to see it if you haven't seen it. But I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all who's hearing this seen the movie. Yeah, you was terrified for him. You mean to tell me? Because literally, I had no idea how he was getting out of this situation. And you have to see, like I said, I'm giving you the breakdown and my feelings. It still doesn't do as much justice as you watching that scene. Watch the other parts of the movie first before you get to that scene. And if you've seen the movie already, then go on YouTube and just watch that scene. Bro, that stuck with me for years. Years, bro. I remember that used to that used to have me like, okay, let me make sure I don't get myself trapped in a situation like that. It makes you think like, okay, maybe I should make sure I'm nice to everybody. Make sure I'm nice to everybody. Hi, how are you? You good? You're not in trouble, are you? You all right? Okay, because you're like, okay, maybe if I'm not, maybe I don't know what my future holds, but maybe something's gonna happen to where me being nice to this person's gonna help me in the future. You start thinking stuff like that. But that's what I ain't gonna front. I did that. I was being over dramatic about it, but I ain't gonna front. It had that scene had me do that for a minute, for a while, and yeah, when I was watching the horror movie earlier, I was like, that's what scared me for a while. That scene right there. Not a horror movie that's meant to terrify you for a while. Never did. That scene did. And thinking about it, no scene ever, and I've watched tons of different genre movies. No scene has affected me the way that did. So shout out to everybody who made Training Day. They did what they were supposed to do. From that hallway to the bathroom to the kitchen where the villains are being friendly to the cop, to everything. Ethan Hawke's performance, I still stand on. Not just that scene, but that whole movie. He deserves an Academy Award. I don't know if he ever got one. They need to revisit that movie. If I haven't watched the Oscars in a while. I don't know if they do revisits. They need to have a revisit moments in movies. That would be a good subject. Here's the award for revisiting scenes. They need to revisit Ethan Hawke and give it to him. But yeah, whew, that conversation was longer than it needed to be. But I was glad to break it down. Let me know if that's what. Do you feel me on that one? And what is your most terrifying moment in movie history? Everybody has their own story. What's yours? But yeah, that's mine. I might actually sit down and watch that scene again right now because that was crazy. Anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll talk to y'all later.